Hello, this is Sandra Bennett, and this is the final project for ITEC 7430, the Internet Tools class in the fall term of 2013. The objective of this project was to have my students learn the major groupings of elements on the periodic table and to understand the differences between metals, nonmetals, and metalloids, which, as you see here, they have displayed on a website which they were asked to create. They were also required to do independent research on elements of their choosing to support their learning styles, and they created projects that were displayed in the project gallery of their web page. This lesson plan supports the Georgia Science Standards for the 8th grade Physical Science Chemistry unit on the periodic table of elements. It also supports a number of the ISTE standards to include the use of technology tools to enhance student learning, increase productivity, promote creativity, as well as the use of productivity tools to collaborate on building technology-enhanced projects, prepare publications, and finally to publish for other audiences. The students first researched information on the major element groupings and their specific characteristics of those groups, and then I set up collaborative teams based on their pre-test scores and ability levels to construct their websites. They further divided into smaller sub-teams to create the separate pages for each of the major groups of elements. They were asked to use other Web 2.0 tools and to embed them within their separate pages. So here you see an example of their homepage, their introduction to spark interest in their various topics. And it includes a survey to find out where the viewers are with respect to what they know about. For instance, if they vote here, they can see also they vote and they can see the results. Okay, and I'll give you a glimpse of each of these pages that were created by the subgroups. Here's the one on metals, nonmetals, and finally metalloids. And this group, all the groups were allowed extensions for their learning, and so this group included more than what was required. They have embedded a video, they have embedded some slides, a little crossword puzzle they created using a web tool, and they embedded a Wordle, and this is a Go Animate video that they created and embedded.
I don't understand what we learned today. I can help you. Metalloids have the properties that are halfway between metals and nonmetals. They are typically very brittle and fragile.
Okay, so that gives you a sense of that. Now, the students mentioned to you they displayed their independent research in projects according to learning styles, and here are some examples of some of what they created in the project gallery. They included references for their sources for their research, and although this was not part of my original design, it was a deviation, but I found this most helpful, and that was to have a blog page where all the students reflected on some of their learning, some of what they experienced with this project. Okay. I would say in terms of how this lesson might be improved, I would first do a little more tutorial on some of the tools. I did some on Weebly, but I think Go Animate and some of the others needed a little more instruction. One team embedded an existing Go Animate video on their topic instead of creating their own. So I realized then that I needed more clarification on the instructions for that portion of it. And I realized when they were nearly completed that one team should have been coached a little more than originally expected. So it's just some things that we need to be cautious of. I created a checklist for them so that this would help keep them organized and focused on the task. Some students needed that structure more than others, so it was a way to differentiate. Also, I graded based on rubrics. This is an example of the web page design rubric that I used, and each of the separate projects had their own rubrics. So here's the one on the cereal box, There was a checklist rubric for the Prezi or PowerPoint, which they might have selected, some of them did, and one as well on the brochure. Guess to wrap this up, I'll just say that I observed the students were very engaged throughout this experience. I enjoyed it as well as their teacher, and I'll certainly be repeating this lesson. They seemed to enjoy using the various technology tools that were included, and knowing that their website would be shared with others made it authentic, and they seemed to be motivated to do their best. What went especially well was their collaborative work in teams to get it done, and I witnessed some exceptional communication, some synergy, and a focused effort on their team goals. And that part was very enjoyable and gratifying for me to see. So I hope you enjoyed this screencast and have seen at least some aspects that you'd like to try in your classrooms. Thank you very much.